Before the break, we asked our studio audience, should more help go to the bully or to the bullied? And here's how they voted. 38% said the bullied should be getting the help. 62% thought more help should go to the bully. Well, activism on bullying that had escalated into gun violence moved our next guest into the national spotlight. Preacher Don Meredith was appointed a senator to represent Ontario in the Red Chamber for his community activism. Welcome to Context. Great to have you here.
Thank you so much. Great to be here.
Your own boys themselves were bullied. You've
My
had that
son,
said.
absolutely. My son in high school was bullied, but we were proactive parents. And when I say to parents, you need to be involved with your children. When they come home, you need to recognize that they're going through some things. And I recognized my son was withdrawing. We queried him, what is going on with you? And we understood that he was being bullied at school. We took it to the principal, we called the police, and so forth. We got very proactive because I wanted to make sure that my son's well-being was number one.
Wow, the wake-up call for me was Rena Verk. Then came Dawn Marie Gale in BC, visited in her mom's home, 14 years old. Last year we had 3 kids. Jamie Hubley in Ottawa, 15 years old, gay bullying. Mitchell Wilson, muscular dystrophy, a handicap. He was just 11 years old. We had Marjorie Raymond in Quebec, long-term bullying. I would have never thought we'd be talking about kids committing suicide because they couldn't stand up with this onslaught that's coming.
That's right.
Bullying.
And that's a major crisis that's going on within our society. We cannot stand by and allow it to happen. We, for example, the Parliament right now is having a committee study this issue.
Yeah, like this has gone from, it should be taken care of in our homes. You know, you guys are doing federal government law on this.
Absolutely, and we have to because we see that there's a major problem here with this crisis within Canada. And we can't look at this as a Toronto issue. We got to look at this as a national issue.
Senator, I want you to set aside your role as a senator for a moment, and I want you to speak about your heart as a pastor, because it was that put you into this government leadership role. What is the flaw in the human condition that is escalating this culture of meanness?
I teach my congregation, I teach my young people to be accepting of one another. We heard of how people are, because of the color of their skin, because of the country they come from, they're being bullied or being ostracized. We need to begin to demonstrate true love for one another, as the Bible says that we should love our neighbor as ourselves, meaning that we would not hurt another individual, meaning that we should not hurt another individual. And therefore, it is incumbent upon us, and as faith leaders, we need to begin to teach more of that. We see it creeping into the church, where, you know, jokes are being made and so forth. That should not be tolerated whatsoever.
Well, let's hear from someone on that. Our producer, Beth Schuler, recently met Kirsten Marlowe on her spiritual response. 7 years of bullying she had been under. Listen to how Kirsten handled it.
It started in grade 4. There were these 2 older boys. They would drag me up onto the field to beat me up. My name is Kirsten. I'm 18, and this is where I grew up. This is where my bullying story begins. Up until grade 10, I was bullied by most of the population in my school. The bullying really started, my sister has MID, and she was bullied a bit by the kids in our building, and I didn't like that. I took a stand, and they don't like someone who has courage. It kind of put the target back on me. People keep saying that they'd rather be punched twice in the stomach than be called one name. It was tough having to fight for yourself. God's been the only thing that has kept me grounded, and He's the only reason I'm still here today. Grade 6, I joined this thing called Bible quizzing. And the very first passage I memorized was James chapter 1, verse 2-4, and it talks about perseverance, and that when you go through these trials, if you persevere, you'll just become stronger in the end, and that God can use those bad things to just glorify Him, and it just grows you through maturity, and I can see that now. He had to grow me so that way I wouldn't be able to tolerate other people in pain. I wouldn't be able to tolerate watching someone get bullied. And I would just be really proactive against it. Doesn't matter how hard it gets, how tough it may be, you've got to hold on, because that's all you've got. And if you need something to hold on to God.
Kirsten Marlowe is in our audience right now. Kirsten, thank you so much for your story.
Awesome.
You're Very courageous, very courageous. Don Meredith, Kirsten hung on to Christian character, Christian perseverance. What other Christian qualities do you think we need in this battle against bullying?
Let me tell you something. The Bible always tells us this, that Romans 8:28, and we know that all things work together for God, to those who love God, to those who are called according to his purpose. Kristen, you've been called for God's purpose. So you can be the light, you can be the salt, so you can represent, you know, other young people who've gone through the similar situation. You're now an ambassador to talk about what transpired in your life and the grace and the love that exuded out of you. You said that God kept you. And that's what a lot of young people need today, to know that even though they're going through the trials that they're going through, there is a God that will constantly be there for you.
Stay tuned for some thoughts on bullying and human nature. That's coming up right after this.